Folks, welcome to this week's current events and Bible study. We're so glad you're with us. I know we got new viewers today. And welcome. And you'll see a number on the screen. You can call and talk to us if you like, ask questions, make comments. You're not interrupting us at all. Don't ever think that, please. We're here because we want to be here with you. We're doing everything we can to make it available to you so you can join us just like you're sitting there with us. There's not a big crowd here today. There never is. But you're out there and you're part of the family, so you feel free to call. I always start with current events. I did not bring a lighter side today. Sorry about that. But we'll get started with current events. Let's go to Matthew chapter 7. I'm going to read a few verses there and get into current events. This chapter will also tie into the lesson we're going to start next hour. That I think, well, I can tell you is the more I understand the truth of this world and the world system and the cunning people that run it, the more I understand how we've been deceived and misled. And although we have no excuse for it, the grace of Christ is what keeps us sound. That's all I can say. But in Matthew chapter 7, Christ himself speaking. And I want to show you something here in verse 15. Now please pay attention, because this will tie into the next hour too. Beware of false prophets. You mean there are people out there that are calling themselves prophets, that maybe really be prophets, but not prophets of God? Of course. Y'all know Satan has prophets? Y'all know Satan has preachers? Y'all believe that? Does Satan have men in office to deceive people?
Yes.
Of course he does. Which come to you in sheep's clothing. They look like one of us. They look like a sheep. But inside they're actually hungry wolves. Do you know that you know how many people actually fleece the flock of God and get by with it? And teach doctrine that are not scriptural, that run on feelings and emotions, and they make millions off of it. You shall know them by their fruits. You may gather of thorns or figs or thistles, This is important because you can judge, you must judge. You judge a tree by its fruits. If that tree is not bringing forth pure fruit, it's not of Christ. Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit. Now wait a minute. Name a little bit. What's it say? A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit. Now how simple is that? But a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. Or bad, okay. Neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Now why is it? You say, but they can be half right. Is half a lie still a lie? And which is more deceiving, a half lie or a whole lie? You follow me? So a man or individual that you're watching, if they have evil fruit in their life, they are not a good tree. Do not listen to them. I don't saying they're perfect. Don't take it, they're not perfect. But they're doing their best to serve Christ in wholeheartedness. And you can tell it by the way they act and what they say, and the love you feel in them. Go a little further very quickly. Every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into what? The fire. Wherefore, by their fruits ye shall know them. Now, we have been so easy, even on ourselves, but everybody else, we don't want to see the fruit we don't like. But folks, I tell you that we must look at the tree and know what's good or evil. For the sake of our souls and the souls of others, we must discern that. So let's get started with current events. There are some good news. There's some good news here. I got to hurry through a lot of this. But the government finally admitted that an AR-15 is not a weapon of war. You hear that? Mm-hmm. That's anything to be a weapon of war must be 50 caliber or bigger to be a real weapon of war. The AR-15 is not a weapon of war. Now that I thought was interesting. I want to get more detail on that, but I just can't get into that long. Take enough time. The appeals court in Hawaii opposed the open carry law there, which is very unusual that the district court in Hawaii would do that. The Ninth Circuit Court of all courts, which is mostly very liberal, said that to take away the people's rights to carry in Hawaii openly is a violation of the constitutional rights. So something good come out of that. Florida launches gun confiscation program. They passed a law in Florida, and Rick Scott signed it, the governor of Florida. It's called the Red Flag Law, and anyone that they think may be dangerous, They go take their guns. So far, they're down by 500 people. Went in, no warrants, no arrests, no charges, and took their guns.
It's just a reflex reaction
Sure.
to the shooting at the school.
What?
That's the state that approved teachers carrying.
Yeah.
My
Yep.
sister's going to a seminar, a training, how to do that.
Good for her.
So then they'll find out which are bad teachers.
Well, you know, it's amazing that 98% of the mass shootings happen in gun-free zones. You mean the bad guys don't read the sign, gun-free zone? Don't they keep the law?
You shoot out the windows, that's the said story building, there's windows you can't shoot through.
That's exactly right. Yes. Well, I was up went to the VA clinic last week for a checkup every 6 months, and the Dr. Harris, nice doctor. We were talking about you can't carry a gun inside the VA clinic. He said we're totally helpless in here. Somebody come through the front door, we can't do a thing about it. He said I don't like that feeling, but that's federal law. Now this is ABC News. I was going to share it. It may not happen, and I hope it doesn't. ABC News says that the U.S. is preparing to bomb Iran this month. I hope not. That's not going to be a pushover. It's not Kuwait. Iran is huge.
It appeared to me if they were going to do it, it wouldn't be a national news, it'd be hush-hush.
Well, you know, you never know. You can't read them anymore.
I don't know, they just advertise how to do everything and have somebody done everything. They just have it on the news.
And Russia is allied to Iran.
But people are so the powers that be are so blatant anymore. I don't think they care about what you think or I think any longer. They do what you want to do. This is the Week magazine.
And they know, put it in somebody's mind and somebody's going to carry it out.
Yep. Bad week for oral suction when a gang of would-be gasoline thieves in Australia tried to siphon the fuel out of a parked tourist bus and tapped the onboard sewage tank instead. Police said the thieves fled with a somewhat bitter taste in their mouth. Oh well. Police in eastern England got a surprise when they pulled over a dilapidated car and discovered that it didn't have a steering wheel or any front seats. The driver was sitting on an upturned metal bucket and steering with a pair of pliers. I remember a guy did it one time in Larry Starcher had an old car and he had a pair of vice grips on him. With a pair of pliers clamped to the steering column. The battered hatchback was also missing a bumper, front fender, and headlights and had a flat tire. The local police department said that the car was the most unroadworthy it had ever seen, that the motorist had been reported for too many offenses to mention.
I don't understand that. Other than that, what could be wrong?
Exactly. I was running in it. I mean, he did a pair of pliers on the steering wheel. What else do you want?
Vice grips, probably.
Exactly. The U.S. will produce almost 12 million barrels of crude oil per day in 2019, making this country the world's top oil producer, according to federal energy information. Think about that. A large plumes of dust from the Sahara Desert created a haze in the skies of Texas. Isn't that amazing? This week, amid an intense heat wave, the dust originated in Chad was carried thousands of miles west by the winds. That's amazing. Huh?
Who's dealing that here?
Dealing with nothing, I don't think, no. And wit and wisdom. Now, I want you to, these two kind of go together. The two most common elements in the universe are hydrogen and stupidity. Okay? And here's a poll after that. When asked which president has done the best job in their lifetimes, 44% of the Americans named Barack Obama. Think about that. Yeah, they did, Barack Obama. So they proved the statement before about hydrogen and stupidity. But anyway, we'll move on.
Right at that 50-50.
Another The Week magazine. Walter Carr was determined to make a good impression on his first day at work. So when the college student's car broke down the day before he was due to start with moving company Bellhops, the Alabamian decided he'd walk the 20 miles to the new job. He set out at midnight and had trekked 14 miles before police stopped him by the side of the road. Wonder why they stopped him. Seriously.
Taillights wasn't working.
Well, he's walking, yeah, I guess. Amazed by his story, the officers took him to the breakfast and gave him a ride the rest of the way. That was good. Wild by his work ethic, Bellhop CEO Luke Markin thanked Carr by giving him his personal Ford Escape. I am honestly blown away by him. You know, doing what's right does pay off. Only in America. Americans can now download blueprints enabling them to make guns at home with a 3D printer. Phil, do you remember, 8-9 years ago we had the 3D ball bearing and race we had here that they printed up, we showed on camera, and now they can print guns, they're printing homes, they're printing everything. And I love to have some of those, I'd like to have some of those prints myself and a machine to do it with, I really would. Good week for the dairy industry after the Food and Drug Administration said it would crack down on the use of the word milk, pay attention, to describe almond milk and coconut milk, since milk must be produced by the lactating animal and not an almond, and an almond doesn't lactate. Good week for emergency measures after transportation officials in Vienna, where one subway line has no air conditioning, handed out 14,000 free sticks of deodorant to stinky subway customers, commuters sweltering through on the ongoing heat wave. So I guess that's a good thing. Keep on going here, past 10. Some more wit and wisdom. A wise man once said nothing at all.
Good one.
Admit when you're wrong. The older you get, the more frequently you'll have to have the opportunity. Amen. Got a cartoon here. Shows two cops with the guy face down in the dirt with a cup in his hand, a straw beside it. In California, now it's a $1,000 fine and 6 months in jail if you give somebody a straw for your waiter, and then they ask for it. So they got a cop here arresting a waiter for giving a guy a straw. Now, this is no joke. This is for real. You go to jail.
What's the logic thinking behind it? These
Plastic is polluting the world.
Oh,
I finally figured that out.
It's the pollutant is polluting the world. Plastic polluting the world.
How long have we been pushing all the plastic? They finally figured that out. And that's just what it's in.
This is a magazine my dad used to get, and he still sends me once in a while. I don't know why. This is Reminisce. When I'm done with it, then you can have it. I know you enjoy him. This is 1955. I remember that year. She was a year old. But anyway, y'all remember Davy Crockett on TV? Best Parker played Davy Crockett in the coonskin cap. Well, I remember wearing a coonskin cap. I go hunting with him. Dad said, "Hopefully they don't shoot you for a squirrel." But I remember wearing a coonskin cap. Seriously. But back in 1955, it was a big deal. People bought a lot of these trinkets because of Davy Crockett. They spent $300 million on trinkets due to the show. Now, in today's dollars, now pay attention, $300 million in 1955 is worth $2.7 billion now.
That show didn't last much more than a year.
No. How much increase is that? $300 million to $2.7 billion. That's how much your dollars dropped. Now, just in case you're interested, the government is now spending $52,000 a second. How many seconds do you need?
One to do me.
One do me two. Actually, they've been done in a long time. But I thought it's interesting. That's Ron Paul said that. And in case you're interested too, I know the news is talking about all the jobs and all that, and I'm glad. All that's good. I really is. I'm seriously glad. But homelessness in this country and people living in the cars is up 46% from last year. Now I know, we take so much for granted, don't we?
oh, I know it.
I mean, I'm going to bed in my house tonight. But people, especially out in California, and especially a lot in Los Angeles through there, they're living in cars. I had people call my radio program who live in cars. And if you're interested and you work for the government, either state or federal, they're now $5 trillion in debt with your retirement. Kentucky has 16% of what it needs to pay the retirement this year for their retired employees. 16%, how far will that go? So you either have to raise taxes, which they probably will do, or cut back on pensions, which they might do. But that's going on in America right now. See, we put our trust in who to take care of us? Uncle Sam. Man, why do you think in Proverbs it says to put a knife to your throat We're sitting at the king's table. If you give an appetite, don't trust the king. Well, we did. Now, in some areas of the country, I just did 46%. In some areas of the country, in L.A., for example, L.A., that living in vehicles is up 75% in that one town alone. They went from 3,000 to 10,000. And
Surprising for California, though.
no, it isn't.
No.
And the stench is so bad in the streets. You can't walk in the streets with people laying in the streets, whether you defecate in the streets, whether you urinate in the streets. You can't even walk down the street some places because it's so bad. Phil, would you call that a decaying society?
That's right. And it's more polarized now than it has ever been.
We'll get that in a minute too. The mayor of a town in Illinois, Lakewood, town Lakewood in Illinois, Paul Sawaka, took his family and moved away from the state because he said he can't afford to pay the taxes in the state any longer. He moved to Alabama. He said he'd done the math and found out he can't do this there and afford to raise his family. Now, he's not by himself. Many people live in Illinois and heading somewhere else. But after a while, it'll get to where they're going to. They're doing the same thing out in New York, New Jersey. They're leaving the states because they can't afford to pay the taxes. And you know what the state government did to make up the difference with their budget? Raise taxes. Wisconsin is having a financial problem, but the federal judge in Wisconsin just said that the state has to pay gender reassignment surgery for people that are on Medicaid. Did you hear that? In Wisconsin, if you're on Medicaid, you want to be a man or a woman, you have to be paid for by the state to get your surgery, to get changed.
So that means that taxpayers
Are paying.
for.
And there's 1.6 million on Medicaid in Wisconsin. 5,000 say they're opposite sexes, so you're going to have surgery. Now, I want to ask you a question. Do you think there's a God in heaven that sees that? Do you think he's laughing at our derision, as Psalms 2 said he is?
Crying.
We're totally confused. This is mockery on the nation. But who sees it? And
And it's like putting a gun to your head and saying you're going to pay for this sin.
yeah, exactly. You have no choice.
They got no choice. They get the money from you.
It's like paying property taxes to go to support something they don't believe in. Thomas Jefferson said it's the worst kind of tyranny, make somebody pay for something they don't believe in. Now, this article says, like it or not, America is now seriously debating socialism. Bernie Sanders wants everybody to have free Medicare, which will cost $36.2 trillion over the next 10 years. It says we are seriously considering socialism. Folks, we are socialists.
Yeah.
We've been socialists since 1930s with Social Security, then Medicare, Medicaid, HUD. We are socialists. We're not ready to debating it. We're debating how deep we're going to get into it. But we are socialists. I'll give you all a paper today to read The Death or the End of the Republic. It's very good. We are deceiving ourselves if we think we live in a republic today. The republic has not existed for sure since 1879. We went in now to a socialist democracy. I know people don't want to hear this either, but you remember Dimitri Duduman? The prophecies he had about America in the 1980s. He warned us. He came out of Romania. Dimitri Duduman said we'd go to civil war here. Then Mexico and other nations to the south would come into us over the southern border and tear us apart in sections. China will have part, Russia will have part. Well, there's two articles here. The origins of our second civil war, and Phil just said they're polarized us in every way possible. Let me just mention a few of the ways they're polarized us. Now these things, some of these sound really absurd, but they're not. Almost every cultural and social institution, including universities, public schools, NFL, the Oscars, the Tonys, the Grammys, late night TV, public restaurants, coffee shops, movies, TV and stand-up comedy are polarizing the society. Now, I'm going to show you in the next hour a book that Joe loaned me that absolutely will tell you how they did it. Freud's Mafia, and who did it, how they did it, step by step. Easily done because the people were asleep. This is, y'all remember back 2 months ago when they had a prayer meeting in the streets of Portland, Oregon, and anti-fascists stormed in and threw percussion grenades among the people that had a prayer meeting? This time they're telling them, bring your gun. Antifa is telling the other people to bring their guns. Said we must stop it by whatever it takes. This radical nationalism, this prayer meeting, we can't have that. Now we're going to a firefight in this country. We're going to go hot. I'm telling you the truth. Will you have enough gumption to defend yourself and family or not? This is going to go into a firefight. It's too late to stop this juggernaut of evil. They've come too far, they've grown too big, and they will not back away peacefully just because you're right. You comprehend that? Yeah, Phil.
Well, had the Christians brought their guns when the abortion started,
Yep.
this wouldn't happen.
That was our last chance.
That's the way to use a gun.
That was our last chance to turn this thing around. I'm convinced it was. Well, 2 Kings 24:4 said, I'll not pardon that sin. And look what's happened since then, Phil.
American be judged.
Yep. If we would have took the guns up, that's why I don't want to get into this because we don't have time, but when you look at the way the Bible teaches, I've found out we don't have rights. We have blessings. And our duties are to God. And when we do His duty, He blesses us. Guns are not a right. They're a blessing given us to defend ourselves, our families, and the most innocent in the world. We didn't even defend unborn babies, so we're losing our rights, if you want to call it that, and the nation's going down. Obedience to God is what brings freedom, not the Constitution. You still with me, Addison?
We're raising Cain and telling them, talk about these poor dogs being euthanized.
Oh, I know.
Don't say nothing about children.
This is something else, Pastor.
Yes.
I didn't know that was happening. I just picked up on this last 2 or 3 days. Hezbollah, Hamas, has been supplying arms into South America. They're training paramilitary organizations to invade the United States.
That's what was prophesied.
The United States just has, I've talked to several trucker friends, that's picking up on heavy weapons that's moving down to Texas, Arizona, that people aren't picking up on yet.
Well, you know, they're shipping a lot of those Walmart trucks. You know that, right? Walmart trucks are carrying weapons.
Yes.
Yes, a lot of them are. You see, but, and if you ever go to Walmart, you ever see any windows in it?
No.
You ever see a lot of entrances or exits? Yeah, it's pretty much a enclosed building, isn't it? But anyway, we'll move on from that. So we're seeing what's happening, and folks, I say this because I love you enough to tell the truth. I'm guilty. Don't you ever think that I am perfect, but please don't think that. Ask her; she'll tell you. By the way, this is my wife, in case you haven't seen her, this is Marcia Jean. She's the one that keeps me humble a lot. But anyway, but it's a fact that me, let this nation down. True?
Sorry.
So we're not throwing stones. We're telling you why this is happening. We're seeing possibly, now we're seeing to the point where the head guy of Papa John's Pizza used what they call an N-word, not in a bad way at all, just in talking to somebody else about what's going on, and they kicked him out as CEO. He no longer had his own company. How do we get to the point that we're so damnably sensitive about everything that this will cause a man to lose his position of company owned? What is this?
Well, I think, Butch, think about it. Only God can judge your heart.
Yes.
We judge actions. You know, if you kill someone, if you damage person or property, you were guilty of a crime.
That's right.
And He judged your heart. Well, since government is God, of course He can judge your thinking and your thoughts and have hate. Your pre-crime, because he knows your heart, Butch, because He's God. And
He is
that's why
God.
These people are so polarized because it's their religion. They serve their God, the government. Government can do no wrong, and if you think otherwise, then you're against.
And our new God will have another God before it will. We won't have it. I remember back when I first started radio back in 1995, I was on the Somerville station, and talking about thought police. I thought, what do they mean thought police? Now I know.
Yeah.
Now I know. You know, and I refused. I would never be politically correct to make anybody happy. I'm going to preach the Bible. The Bible's not politically correct. Why do you think they crucified Christ? Because he's so sweet and so kind. You never offend anybody. Why did the church have him crucified?
We're the disciples.
Exactly. A Christian cannot be politically correct. They can be kind and gentle, but politically correct is not in the vocabulary. Sin is still sin. And I talked about the young man a minute ago, living with a girlfriend. I said the Bible calls that fornication. You can call it premarital sex if you want to. You can call it whatever you want to call it, but it's called fornication. And it's a death sentence for fornication. Y'all know this Bible? Why would God make it such a severe penalty to stop the sin of fornication? Why would he do that to us? Is that because he wants to hurt us?
Lead to the downfall of society.
There you go. He wants to protect us. Why are guardrails on the road? To keep you hemmed in? To keep going over the hill? Anyway. This we knew was coming. It's here already. New York City is now going to put up facial scanning at all toll plazas. New York City is going to put up facial scanning at all toll plazas. You drive through the toll plaza, they know who you are, where you're from, what you've done.
I got a letter, Butch, from the Pennsylvania Turnpike. They said I owe them $1.50 plus $5 in penalties. And then they said, oh, you can go online and see the picture of your car. Now, we only went through Pennsylvania twice. We went all the way from Carlisle to New Jersey and New Jersey to Carlisle. It was $20-some each way. But they're saying I owe $1.50, and of course, they're threatening me big time if I don't pay it. And they tell me I can go look at my picture of my car. Well, I go there's no picture. You know what I mean? Unbelievable. I mean, what's $1.50? Where do you get $1.50? You drive 10 miles on the turnpike, that's $1.50.
I have no idea. And how do you afford to pay somebody to even type the letter up for that?
Who's computerized letter?
I don't know. I know when I went to D.C. some years ago, and I hate that place up there. What else are you going to do? I got a ticket in the mail, driving in the wrong lane. I didn't know it was in the wrong lane. I was in the fast lane.
He said
But
he was in a
passenger lane or something like that. We had this
place
thing.
where we're supposed to have.
Yeah, restricted lane, yeah.
No passengers.
Supposed to have more passengers, and he was driving by himself. I was sitting right there in the car, you couldn't see me. He
What
was talking
difference does it
to
make how many people's in the car?
Cause he
Yeah,
was
they
in the
have
lane
a-
that was supposed to be
they want you to
for
carpool.
people That's carpooling.
Right.
Once you
All
carpool.
he wanted, he didn't care what lane he's in, he just wanted to be out
I just
there.
seen a note back, tell them what to kiss.
Well, then I was trying
Could
to
you bring your
sit there.
videos you want to show? You bring your videos you want to show? Any videos?
No,
you want
you
to
said-
I know that. I want to make sure. I don't want to, get through here. Okay. But, going into some things here now that I don't want to rush through, that we need to talk about. Because if you would just take the Word of God seriously, it'll answer all the questions. It'll point out how we got where we are very clearly. The thing I want to emphasize right now is simply this. That no one in this room and no one in this country, no one within the sound of my voice or anywhere around the world deserves salvation. None of us. If it were not for the absolute, beautiful, sacred grace of Jesus Christ, we have went so far in the wrong direction that without grace we wouldn't have a snowball's chance in Hades of making it out of this world into His kingdom. I want to share with you some things now that we need to look at. How many has noticed lately about all the child abuse in the so-called Catholic Church? I mean, notice that. I have a guest coming on Monday night who worked with a Catholic 501c charitable foundation who found proof on the computers of child trafficking on the Catholic Church, and she is scared to death. She's coming on the air, but she's scared.
Director of Dot Protection for me.
Yes. Now the nuns are coming forward, and we already knew this. The priests are, and I'm sure some of the nuns were consenting, some maybe not. But they are coming forth and they were with the priests, they had babies, they killed the babies and buried them. I'm telling the truth. It's right here.
We used to do that back in the 1500s. There's been archives of the nuns having babies and burying them in walls and then stoning up the walls. It's still happening today.
Sure. I want you to stop and think about how this come about. It's in the Bible. Read 1 Timothy, get a chance, chapter 4, I believe it is. 1 Timothy 4. You'll find that they said in the last days there'll be people who will forbid marrying. Who does that? Who can't get married?
Catholic Church.
Yeah, the priest in the Catholic Church cannot get married. Is that true? They must remain celibate, which we know is a farce. How many of y'all know, and especially if they're not born again, most Catholics are not born again. They're trusting in the rosary, they're trusting in their what do they call them? They go through certain things, they call it catechisms, all that, yeah. They're trusting in that for salvation. And that's what they're trusting in. They trust that the priest can forgive them of their sins. And I'm telling you right now that this is in the Bible. They trust in works, and I've known Catholics personally that say some of them are good people, but they really believe they have to go through all these things and then hope to be born, hope to be saved. As a matter of fact, they put in a teaching of purgatory, where in case you had a sin that wasn't forgiven, you can pay for it in purgatory for a while. Am I telling the truth? And I have to keep saying this. If I can pay for one sin in 5,000 years, I can pay for all the sins somewhere in eternity. So why did Christ die for me? They actually have a prayer stool right beside their caskets in Catholic services so they can pray them out of purgatory. You can pay the priest to pray them out of purgatory. I'm telling you the truth. Some of them have ice beside the casket dripping in a bucket of water dripping so they'll be cool in their passage. That is absurd.
So you're saying that everyone who's Catholic goes to hell first?
Well, if they're not born again, they do.
I mean, but
You have to clarify, that's for Roman Catholic.
Yeah.
There's Greek Orthodox too.
Well, all I can say is that the Catholic Church has taught no marriage as a priest. Men, and I'm sure women, but I'm not a woman, I can't speak on that. But men have a tendency to like women. Am I telling the truth?
Some reason or other.
Yeah, they do. And men have a tendency to want to have relations with somebody. So if there's no women available to have little boys there, what happens?
they become
Come on, boys, talk to me here.
That'll work.
So it says in 1 Timothy 4 that in the last days you'll tell me you can't get married, so that's going to cause fornication and all manner of evil.
That's exactly the reason they set that structure up, is to cause the temptation to convert.
And believe me, it's done it.
See, the problem is all power of heaven and earth is given to the right hand of God, which is Jesus Christ.
So what I have told you today is biblically sound. If you go to the Bible, you'll find out why this is happening. It's not just in the Catholic Church. No. It's in Washington, D.C. It's all this country. It's all over the world, child trafficking. Bill Clinton was in on it. So was Hillary. And that's a known fact. But the Catholic Church is supposed to be a Christian organization.
only entitled.
And now they're caught up in all this. Yes, Phil.
Yeah, one of those reasons for that sin is the power structure can then control you because you're compromised. You know, it's like an initiation to get into the mafia or whatever. They got to have something on you in order for them to let you, be part of their establishment. So it's sin by design for control
Sure.
and life.
Well, what do you think happens when you go into a man and confess your sins? What does he have on you
Yeah.
if he wants to use it?
Blackmail?
Blackmail. So anyway, I'm just telling that this nun wrote in this article, shared her thoughts on this, said she's tried to hide it for years and pretend it didn't happen. But after decades of silence, said she had to come out and tell the truth of what happened to her by the priest and the priest and the bishops, the church that she was a member of. But folks, this is sad. This is really sad. This is really sad. But the answer is in the Bible why it happened. Please understand that. You abstain from, didn't Paul say it's better to marry than to burn in your own lust? Did he not say that? I, for one, am so thrilled I'm married a pretty lady. We've had 47 years together. And I still like her just as much as I did when married her, maybe more in some ways. She's got to be a better cook over the years, too. But anyway, whatever that's worth. Let's move on. In case you care about this, a Democratic congressional candidate in Pennsylvania has desires to tax parents who have more than 2 children as irresponsible breeders.
Irresponsible
Breeders.
breeders.
We're animals, we're breeding. Scott Wallace is a population control zealot who has donated over $7 million to population control groups. Wallace is also supported and endorsed by both Planned Parenthood, go figure, and National Organization of Women. According to the Daily Wire, Wallace, a millionaire and Democrat who believes in taxing families with more than 2 kids for being privileged, also believes that the tax will be on the privilege of irresponsible breeding. Between 1997 and 2003, Wallace gave $420,000 to Zero Population Growth, now Population Connection, and an organization co-founded by Population Bomb, author Paul Edric Fox reported. So this guy, a congressman, wants to tax anybody that has more than 2 babies because you're an irresponsible breeder. Not a parent,
Wonder how many
a breeder.
How many children he had, and how many children he has illegitimate running
You,
around.
you never know this. Yeah, Phil.
That beats. Remember we went up to New Hampshire, Elaine, what was her name?
Elaine
Brown.
Brown, yes.
Right. Remember we went to their house in New Hampshire, and he told us that they paid a $4,000 view tax.
Yes.
They had a 3-story house.
Yes.
They come and they measure your window area, and you're charged a view tax in New Hampshire,
Yep.
which is called the live free or die state. Figure that one out.
Right on the license plate says that.
Well, if you boarded up all your windows on that side of your house and couldn't see nothing.
No. Yeah, they actually pay a view tax. They were laughing about that, but I don't know about you all, but my tax went up again this year.
Oh, buddy.
Everybody's
Every year.
Yeah, not this year, yeah. Yeah.
It's
yeah.
about tripled.
So, if you're in Pennsylvania, don't have more than 2 babies because you're an irresponsible breeder. And I get that word breeder, just gets me. Didn't say parent. It didn't. Didn't say people. Breeder.
So is it finding a woman for having a child or a family?
The family, the parents.
It's a
I mean,
family.
what about those children who have children?
Well, just talk about anybody that see you can feel be
We
fine.
pay for them.
Yeah, you do. If y'all in Pennsylvania, this went into effect. If you had 4 young girls at home, you'd be paying extra tax. So you overpopulated. Gee. Cambridge University, and listen to this. This is really spooky. Scientists create artificial embryo from stem cells. What could that mean? Artificial embryo built from scratch using stem cells have been created by scientists. Researchers bypassed the act of fertilization. Let that sink in. By growing the self-assembling structures in the laboratory. What does it say in England? Laboratory. Although the cells used came from mice, the experiment has opened up a new frontier in embryo research with major ethical implications. Creating embryos in the lab is expected to help scientists unlock the mysteries of early human development.
That
Yeah,
should
that
be a
could-
perfect clone.
That goes back to, Huxley's book on Brave New World, that every person in that era of his book was born through stem cells. In fact, they thought it was disgusting for a woman to get pregnant and give birth. They thought it was a horrible, ugly, nasty, dirty thing. So yeah, that's where we're heading to.
Well, this opens the door for a lot of things if this actually goes on. And this is probably old news. Who knows where they are today? Who knows?
Sure.
But here's a sad story. And people say, why is it sad? Because I hate seeing anybody die and go to hell. I really do. Co-founder of Femin commits suicide in Paris. Founded in 2008 and headquartered in Paris, Femin, F-E-M-E-N, gained international fame for its topless protests against sexism, prostitution, political corruption, religious institutions, homophobia, and other social medias. After fleeing Ukraine in 2013, the organization has since branched out to several other countries. Her name is Asanda Shakako, committed suicide, and she was the founder of this perverted group. Now, I know she's worthy of what happened. I'm not, but it breaks my heart. She had a soul. And somewhere down along her life, something happened to get her in this condition, but then she refused to come out of it.
Well, Butch, there are a lot of people, Freud, H.G. Wells, a lot of these socialists and atheists and things like that, they tell you a part of their life, but they don't tell you a lot of times how they ended their life,
Yes.
or how they
Yes.
changed, because they don't, they hide the truth, because the truth will set you free.
Well, Sigmund Freud committed suicide in 1939, and his doctor helped him do it.
I just know that when you look at people's lives that we say were famous and wealthy, and we can name them like Elvis Presley and Prince and Jackson and all them overdosed on drugs, and for whatever reason, they're dead.
Yeah.
Sometimes wealth and fame will destroy you. Unless you have found it in Christ, wealth almost always destroys you. It does. Why do you think Christ said it's harder for a rich man to get into heaven than it is a camel go through the eye of a needle? Judge forces schoolboys to shower with girl.
What?
Yep. The transgender agenda in public schools, which insists a person's sex is a subjective matter based on feelings. We just done a whole teaching on feelings, didn't we?
Yeah.
Took a huge step forward this week when a federal judge ruling boys must be allowed to use girls' restrooms and showers and vice versa. U.S. District Court Judge Marco Hernandez in Oregon did offer an alternative. Now pay attention. However, parents who object to mixed sex showers for the children can take them out of the schools. And I say, do it.
Do it, yeah.
Get them out of those damn hellholes. I mean damn hellholes. It is within parent plaintiffs' right to remove the children from Dallas, Oregon High School if they disapprove of transgender student access to facilities. Once the parents have chosen to send their parents to school, now pay attention, I'm not making this up, their liberty interest in the children's education is severely diminished.
I don't think so.
His ruling, however, conflicts with President Trump's rescinding of Obama administration guidance letter directing schools that want to continue to receive federal funding to let transgender students use facilities and correspond with their gender identity. It makes no difference what Obama said. It's happening.
Yeah.
The judge defines sex as processes that lead to or denote male or female. He says such a characteristic is assigned at birth, but gender is a person's subjective, deep core sense of self as being a particular gender.
I think, therefore, I am.
That's exactly right. I believe I can fly too. It's good enough to build and find out field. A transgender boy is therefore a person who has a lasting, persistent male gender identity, though that person's sex was determined to be female at birth. In the Dallas, Oregon district, an unidentified female student submitted such a claim to be a boy, and the school developed a plan to allow her to use the boys' facilities. Then the parents objected.
Where do they think their school funding comes from? The public.
I like to set a camera up there, Buckhannon, Lowe's, you got the transgender bathroom, men and woman both in one. I like to put a camera there and just see what the average is that people want to use and then compare it to the man or woman bathroom. You got
Oh,
a
they
man
have
and a
three
woman,
there?
you got a man and a woman, and a transgender in the middle.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Well, Dickie, depends on what you want to be today.
Well, yeah, I'd just like to see how many uses it has.
It's called the unisex bathroom.
What do you think, Addison?
I think I just have to click. No, it's a sign of decay of our.
It is.
Of our society, and we all stand around and say, well, the government has made an announcement that a military weapon's bigger than 50 times. We don't care what the government says. We belong to the God. We belong to the Lord. We don't have to have their official.
That's true. Well, unfortunately, the nation as a whole, and I'm guilty too, accepted the government's benefits, and it's hard to break away from them. Woman forced with men in locker wins lawsuit. a Michigan appeals court has ruled in favor of former Planet Fitness gym customer who argued that her rights under Michigan's consumer protection law were violated when the club did not disclose its unwritten policy and cancel her membership because she complained about a man who's in the women's locker room. Yvette Cormier's lawsuit against Planet Fitness, well, Planet Fitness motto is, we don't judge. The non-judging, whatever. Was filed in Midland County in 2015 after her membership was canceled because she warned fellow gym members over several days about seeing a biological man who claimed to be transgender in a woman's locker room. Planet Fitness told her that it allows people to use the locker room that matches their identity. Midland County Circuit Court Judge Michael J. Beal dismissed the lawsuit in 2016. Coroner then appealed the decision to Michigan Court of Appeals. The appeals court affirmed Beal's ruling in 2016, but Gilmer then took her case to Michigan Supreme Court, which reversed and sided with Gilmer. The court's opinion said the plaintiff was already a member of the gym when she learned of the unwritten policy and was thus, now pay attention, was thus subject to a financial penalty. Was thus subject to a financial penalty if she canceled her membership earlier than provided in the membership agreement. So if she would have canceled it herself, she'd been fined, but they kicked her out. The plaintiff's actions indicate that she strongly referred to a locker room and restroom in which individuals who were assigned biologically male are not present, and it is thus reasonable to infer the defendant's failure to inform plaintiff the unwritten policy affected her decision to join the gym. Now that's a good ruling to a point, but she didn't really win the case. She won it on her behalf, but the next person does it can't win because they know now. All I'm saying?
Right.
It doesn't work. But this, go ahead, Bill.
Well, I was just saying, we shouldn't use the term assign a certain sex. You are a sex, not
Yes,
assigned.
yes. And there's no way around that. You cannot change your DNA that way.
That's right.
Now this is the Planet Fitness, the same one who said they're not going to judge. Man arrested for exercising naked at Planet Fitness in New Hampshire. Why? They're not going to judge. Why can't he go naked? A man who stripped naked before working out at the New Hampshire gym told police officers that he thought he was in a judgment-free zone before being arrested.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what? So
If you can think yourself a male or female, then you can think you're dressed.
that's very true. I don't understand it. But this was an unlawful arrest.
Right.
What does the Bible say in Deuteronomy 28:28?
That I will
Smite them with madness.
Yeah.
Yes, gosh, Dick, it's happened. Look what's happened in our lifetime, Dick. Can you imagine a boy going to go to the bathroom in Monterville Grade School, Mr. Preston was there?
We don't live in a world we grew up in.
No, we don't. Air Force bans the Bible.
What?
Yep. The commander of FE Warren Air Force Base in Wyoming has agreed to replace a Bible on POW MIA table with the generic Book of Faith.
Which one's it?
There's no such thing.
The Militant Religion Foes Foundation revealed this week the MRFF is a militant organization that has fought against the nativity scene, Bible studies, and many outlawed expressions of the Christian faith on U.S. military installations. The head of the foundation, Mikey Weinstein, a Jew, Jews as a whole hate Christ, wrote in the Huff Post that he is dedicated to fighting the virulent religious oppression carried out by incredibly well-funded gangs of fundamentalist Christian monsters
Monsters?
who terrorize their fellow Americans by forcing their weaponized and twisted version of Christianity upon the helpless subordinates in our nation's armed forces.
Keep slipping these words in.
Where are we heading, people?
What was it? Helpless Americans?
I said, yeah, who forcing their weaponized and twisted version of Christianity on their helpless subordinates.
What do you mean? Helpless?
Yeah, well, they're under ranks. They have
One
to.
nation,
Yeah.
under God.
This is America today. This is it. And I promise you, if we live long enough, we will see it happen right here.
Oh, yeah.
I'm amazed that we're still on Facebook. I'm amazed I'm on YouTube.
I'm thinking that right here in Elkins.
Oh, yeah, we're helping Elkins eventually.
I was thinking about
It's
that.
coming. Folks, they did this. They went in and took the Bible out, and now they're calling us terrorists?
Well, they said Jesus was a seditious man, but it was a church that did the persecution. Well,
Well,
this case here again could be the church that did the persecution.
I just am seeing this happen and thinking, over all the years we've been talking about this stuff in a long time, Phil's been with us a long time. How long have I been talking about this stuff coming, Phil? Not because I'm smart, just because the Bible says it. I do study, see it. How long have we been telling people this is coming?
2 decades.
At least 2 decades. University of Minnesota to punish teachers and students for incorrect usage of gender pronouns.
Well, that's so sad because
I mean, you
people's
can't
minds
say
are
he and
Yep,
she.
yep.
with stuff like
I call everybody you.
The University of Minnesota is potentially going to punish students and teachers for improper use of gender pronouns. The policy still under consideration includes the punishment up to expulsion or firing.
Well, first off, it's not a violent crime, so it shouldn't get expelled for using the wrong word. Of course, it is the correct word if you use it correctly. But then again, here it's saying that we'll just kick you out if you say the word he or she,
Mhm.
mommy or daddy, or brother or sister.
Used to have to start saying it. It didn't have a hall pass. It had to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
You,
Well, you know, we can all be.
It gotta go to the bathroom. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a cousin that, remember that was that?
Oh, your cousin it? Yeah, little furry guy. Yeah.
to
Before it go in, flush
anybody's
your bones with it.
interpretation. They'll tell you how they interpret it. It's just how you
Yeah.
Well,
either submit or.
a nation that forgets God is turned into hell. Would you, maybe we're not in literally a burning hell yet. Would you say all this confusion is almost like hell on earth in your mind? And how it affects everybody around you in society? I mean, your children are going to be growing up confused. Even now in public schools all this country, including here in West Virginia, if there's a sodomite in class, you can't correct it. Not legally. You can't tell them it's wrong. You can't witness to them. My cousins in New York go to school where there are lesbians in class, and one of them keeps hitting on one of my cousins. And they can't say anything because they'll get kicked out.
But yet, if a boy was hitting on a girl, they'd be kicked out.
All I know is it's coming to a point, and I believe I'll live long to see it. I don't know if I'll be 70 next month. We'll find out. That I may be in jail for preaching the Bible, period, especially on the radio. Sorry against law in Canada.
That could happen in less than a year.
Now, we got about 7 minutes left. NBC, National Broadcasting Corporation. Y'all remember growing up, there was only 3 ABC, CBS, and NBC. Remember that? They got a call coming in. So we take a call. Okay. Hello? Hello?
Hi, is this Monty Jean?
No, this is Pastor Butch.
Oh, hi, Pastor. This is George from New Hampshire. How you doing?
I knew it was you. I can tell the way you talk. You still talk funny.
Well, on this side of the phone, I'm all right. On your side of the phone, I need work.
Welcome, brother. What's on your mind?
Well, I just wanted to say, the other thing to show you how slanted and devious it is and deviant, they make it so that they can convert some child to homosexuality or
Right.
lesbianism.
Right?
But if you try to heal them from their misguided, deviant behavior, that's not allowed. But they're allowed to do anything they want.
Yep. Well, you see, they have to be tolerated from our side, but they don't tolerate our side. They want us to tolerate them. They're not going to tolerate us.
Right. But like you said, by opening the door to them, we legitimized and gave rights to wrong.
Right?
And
We
now
did.
wrong wants to basically stamp out the right. And like I said, it's like the judgment's coming down on us, and it's moving like a freight train.
My problem is, George, at this is how the parents still let the children go to these schools. I don't care if it's broke, you can't pay attention. You don't turn a child over to the devil's advocates.
I apologize, my phone here, the connection is something that breaks up, but
I said.
I didn't say that.
I
I was
think
a good preaching brother, and like I said, I appreciate being able to fellowship with you all.
Hey, now you get it, y'all. You got it right, y'all. Good for you.
Good, buddy.
God love you, brother. Bye-bye. He calls pretty often on Thursdays, and we have a great time talking on the phone. We really do. I'm so blessed to have people like that listening. But, you know, the parents will turn them into these places and wonder why the children are messed up. NBC promotes parents who refuse to assign gender to their 3-year-old twins. This is a new parenting technique called babies.
What is it?
Babies.
Not baby, baby.
T-H-Y.
K-G-Y.
E-Y.
Babies?
NBC News attempted to normalize two parents who refuse to assign genders to their 3-year-old twins by suggesting that the decision was a trendy and growing parenting technique. Now, pay attention, it's trendy to be a pervert today. Oh, it's a fad thing, is it not? Remember back in the 60s, it was long hair, hippies, remember that? Drugs? Now it's trendy to be a pervert. And no one dares cause anything else because it offends somebody. They may get mad at you. Well, get mad at me. I don't care. You crucify my Savior, tell the truth. Crucify me if you like. Hey, kill me about this world. You can't scare me with heaven, folks. A little further. This video, which is titled Raising Babies, Letting Kids Choose Their Gender, features parents Julie and Nate Sharp, who are raising their 3-year-old twins using the pronoun they, them, and their to shield them from negative gender stereotypes, refusing to disclose the biological sex of the children. Does that make you angry too?
It's incomprehensible what is going on. And what it is people pay attention to that instead of paying attention to what the
Because it's cool.
Picture in your mind a 3-year-old child being told this. I love children. I do. I really do. Anyone has a heart loves children, right? Exactly. The older you get, I think the more you love.
appreciate it.
Yes, that's exactly right. Yeah. So it makes me angry to think of calm down, Butch. Two people that call themselves parents would do this to their children. It makes me angry beyond words. These two parents are servants of Satan. Y'all do know that, right?
That's right.
Must be.
You serve one of two masters.
Exactly. And now they're turning the children. As Christ told the Pharisees, you turn the people that you prophesize into twice the children of hell you are. Did Christ say that? We're doing the same thing to the parents are doing to the children. Hello? Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hey, Bill, Mike, come on in.
I'm really breaking up. Let me try to call right back.
Okay. All righty. Anyway, we're doing double to the children that we had done to us. We're making them twice the children of hell. They're going to be so confused they don't know what to believe. The battle is for the mind, and then it goes into the heart of the people. Go ahead, Mike.
Hey, I can hear you a little bit better now.
Okay.
You're wearing a blue striped shirt.
Yes.
I'm watching you live. I can't believe it. I pushed a lot of buttons, Butch.
Well, I'm glad you finally got us, Mike. You're part of the family. I'm glad you're out there.
I am too. Our connection's really bad, but did Ken just called you?
Ken? No, that was George from New Hampshire.
It sounded like Ken from the Bronx. I have trouble. He's got a shortwave program, and I know that he's a strong Christian, and I have trouble picking him up. It just sounded like him.
No, that was George from New Hampshire.
Listen, I just wanted to let you know that I'm here, and I thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome, buddy. Thank you, Mike. We appreciate you. You know that, right?
Yes, sir. And thank Phil too for bringing me this here.
Okay. We'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir.
Okay, bye-bye. Well, folks, we're out of time for this, and We got to move on to take a break and we're back in about half an hour to do some Bible study. We've done our best to bring the truth to you and to tell you to look at the works of the people. If your pastor says this is okay, in any sense I've just talked about, any of it, that if he okays it, it's against the law of God, he's a false prophet, you get out of there, don't give him a dime, don't support him, leave that place. See you in half an hour.